Welcome, game chasers everywhere, to episode 13 of The Collecting Confidant with your host, GunstarHero. And I'm back this week with another preview of a new game coming from limitedrungames.com. We're actually in the middle of the pre-order period, and we've got about a couple weeks more left to grab your physical copy if you're looking for it. This week we're talking about a bit more of a smaller niche title, but it's definitely getting some word of mouth. We are talking about Unsighted, coming to you from Studio Pixelpunk, a very small, cool developer out of Brazil, and it's being published by Humble Games, and is available now as of September 30th, 2021 when this was released. It's available now on PC, PS4, Switch, and the Xbox One, but of course the physical version is coming via Limited Run Games and is available only for the PS4 and the Switch, and we'll be getting to the details shortly after I talk about the game and why you should consider adding this to your radar. First of all, the reason why I wanted to get into the game this week, well, other than it having some buzz, is the fact that I like to shine a light on some of the smaller titles that may not necessarily get all the buzz. And this is one that definitely deserves its time in the spotlight. As I said, this is a small Studio Pixelpunk to be exact, coming out of Brazil, and it's headed up by an openly transgender developer named Tiani Pixel, who not only developed the game, but was responsible for the beautiful pixel art style. And as you've seen from previous videos, I am a nut for 2D old style pixel art, and this game definitely does not disappoint. Also, you've got her comrade by the name of Fernanda Diaz, who also developed the game and was responsible for the very brooding, very atmospheric score that definitely punctuates the action. It's got that very cool cyberpunk aesthetic to it, and it definitely sets the appropriate tone for the insane action that is coming about in this game. Okay, let's get into the game and its background and why you should consider it. So, in terms of the story, you are a automaton or robot named Alma who wakes up after this massive war between humankind and the robots, where now what has happened, this meteor has crashed to Earth, and with it brings along this strange substance called anima, which is actually a life force that gives consciousness or sentience to these automatons, allows them to think, to feel, and to act. The only catch is that these evil humans have started to exploit this meteor, and because of that, this anima life force is now running out. And what happens is, if this anima life force actually runs out, these automatons are eventually going to turn into mindless killing machines, including our main character Alma. So that's essentially the journey. She's trying to kind of stop what's happening with the humans versus the automatons, but also find her long lost lover partner Raquel, and that's what's going to set the stage for this journey, in which you're going to explore this Metroidvania style of game. The developers admitted that their main influences on this game were Legend of Zelda, the series to be in fact, and you can definitely see shades of Majora's Mask in the fact that there's always a timer running out on this game, so you have to move very quickly. It was also inspired by Metroid and Dark Souls, and we'll get into some of the tropes of those different games and how they play out in this particular game. So, you're Alma, you'll be going across this interconnected world, this huge map that's set above and below the surface, and that is completely interconnected like a good Metroid game, but is done in such a way that it encourages not only exploration, but encourages exploration and efficiency. Like, they want you to go through this game quickly, to traverse quickly, to do the combat quickly, because like I said, time is running out, and as you'll see as you play through the game, the quicker you play, the potentially better ending you will get. And what I mean by that is the fact that, like we said, your life force and all the life forces of the other automatons around you are running out. So what's going to happen is, during your story, you are going to run into NPCs or other automatons, and there's going to be moralistic choices in terms of, do you save your fellow automaton and bring them with you on the journey, or do you sap their life force to keep your own life force going? That, I think, is very cool. There's a lot of ambitious design to this game that I truly respect, and the fact that they're really trying to create something very emergent, where choices matter in terms of when you decide to save or deplete somebody, or how you choose to explore the game world, how long you take is ultimately going to affect the ending. And I think it's really cool that the fact that even when you beat the game, there's a new game plus mode that allows you to retread the same paths, or maybe a different path, and try out things in a different way to try to get through the game quicker, more efficiently, and see how many people you can save and what kind of endings you can unlock. In terms of combat, there's definitely a lot of creativity you can do here, because you can choose to have either ranged or melee weapons. You can combine these different weapons to have different effects. The weapons themselves will have different elemental effects, which will help you in terms of, for example, solving puzzles or, just enhancing combat. So, for example, in some of the gameplay scenarios I was watching, there is, say, an ice grenade that can create ice platforms to help you traverse water. But then, of course, you can also use these same ice grenades to help freeze enemies and destroy them quicker. I like the fact that this game is giving you a lot of agency over how you play it. They really want to give you a very unique experience from player to player, but again, also encouraging the speed running and the replayability, which I find very fascinating and very cool and rewarding. Like I said, the sound design is excellent, the graphics are fantastic. There's so much depth to this game, and I have to say, from a very small team, it's very ambitious what they've decided to do here. There's different chips you can collect that'll give you different skill upgrades. You can do different combinations of these chips, but also what's nice is the fact that you can choose to either explore and find these chips, or you can just craft them yourself, and that's also going to affect how quickly you get through this game. Like I said, time's always running out, so you got to make choices, you got to act quickly, you got to think on your feet. This game is not for the faint of heart either in terms of difficulty. It seems like, just from what I've watched, it's definitely going to expect a higher level of skill, and that's where the Dark Souls influence comes into it. But of course, the developers are quick to remind us that if it does get a little bit more difficult, you can bring a friend to do local co-op to try to help you solve those puzzles or fight those bosses. So I've thrown a lot at you. Like you said, this is a very small game, but with a lot of potential and ambition going into it. And I like the fact that when I was reading some of the interviews with Tiani Pixel, one of the things she mentioned, again, being a transgender woman, was the fact that she felt that there needed to be a lot more diversity in terms of the characters she was seeing in her games and in terms of representation. So I like the fact that she just went and did it. And that's what I say to everybody. If you feel that you're underrepresented or you feel you need to see something else that's not being shown in the content you like to consume, then be the change you want to see. And that's where I give my hats off to Studio Pixel Punk for going out there, trying something to be very ambitious, trying to make a point, and delivering something that seems very beautiful. All right. Now, before we wrap up, let's get into the physical edition, which is why we come here in the first place. So, like I said, the physical edition is open now for pre-order on limitedrungames.com, and it's only available for another 2 weeks until Sunday, June the 26th. You can get it on both PS4 and the Switch via a standard edition, which will give you either the disc or the cart, depending on your platform, with an instruction manual. That one is going to go for $34.99 US, or you can choose to go for the collector's edition for $64.99 US, and that is going to include not only the game, but a poster, a retro SNES style box, CD soundtrack, and a acrylic keychain. So a lot of value in there if you choose to go for the bigger one, but you can also rest assured if you go for the standard that you've at least got it preserved. So that's available till Sunday, June 26th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm pretty excited about this. I think there's a lot of potential, and I'm keeping my eyes on Studio Pixel Punk to see where they go next, because again, the graphics are fantastic. There's really ambitious game design, great sound design, a lot to like in this. You've been watching episode 13 of The Collecting Confidant with your host, GunstarHero. We'll be back next week to talk about TMNT Shredder's Revenge, because we finally got a release date on that, so stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Later, Game Chasers, and peace.